Hey guys, what is up, and welcome back to another episode of Miles Edgeworth Ace Attorney Investigations. In the last episode, we examined the cargo hold very thoroughly, and we found out that, indeed, the Mr. iFly piggy bank was not the murder weapon, but in fact he fell down to his death, because the current cargo that is there right now was not there, so he fell onto the ground. And that, brings into question Miss Meele's testimony. So now we are going to be cross-examining her to get the truth out of her. So let's get going. March 12th, 3:35 p.m. Lower deck cargo hold. Miss Meele. Miss Meele! Huh? Do you recall what you said earlier? About when you answered some service calls as we were departing from Zhengfa? Huh? You said that Mr. Hicks was sitting in his seat at that time. However, that is simply not possible, because Mr. Hicks was dead long before we ever touched down in Zhengfa. Oh? Miss Cammy Meele!
Maybe I didn't see what I thought I did?
No one can make a mistake so large, Miss Meele.
But I make that kind of boo-boo all the time.
Ugh.
This is going nowhere. There must be a better way of resolving this contradiction.
Very well. Miss Meele, if you please, tell us about your alibi during this time span. From just before we were to land at 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. when the body was found.
Are you telling me I'm a suspect, Mr. Edgeworth? Yeah. From 3 to 4, I was, in the flight attendant's room all by my lonesome self. Yeah, and from 5 to 6, I was, in the flight attendant's room all by my lonesome self.
The frick? How was a man supposed to react to a testimony like that? Miss Meele, wake up! She fell asleep again. Looks like the only way I'm going to be able to wake her up is by pressing her. Wake the fuck up! Miss Meele! If I remember correctly, food was being served in the first class in the lounge between the hours of 3 and 4 a.m.
Yeah, but that kind of stuff's run by Miss Rhoda.
Then what were you doing in the attendance room at that time?
Eating, and then having a most delicious dream.
You mean you were neglecting your duties?
No way! Sleeping's part of our job too, you know.
Miss Meele! So you were alone the entire time, were you?
Yeah, no one else even popped their head in to say hi.
Oh, well, I think a contradiction just popped in to say hi. What should I do? Should I raise an objection? Objection! Miss Meele, there is a clear contradiction embedded in your testimony.
Huh? What are you talking about?
It's not possible that you were alone in the attendance room the whole time from 5 to 6 a.m. I don't know that, but I think that. Meele, Hicks, suitcase receipt, autopsy report, Alfred? What the frick? What? Hold on. Shit. I wonder if you would be so kind as to take a look at this receipt, Miss Meele.
Huh? A receipt? For what?
It's for the suitcase Miss Teniro bought. Now, if I may direct your attention to the timestamp. As you can see, it clearly says 5:40 a.m., Miss Teniro.
Yes? Huh? Why is the killer here? I thought you'd have her locked up by now.
I requested that she be present as a witness so that we may straighten out your complex lie. Now then, Miss Teniro, between the hours of 5 and 6 a.m., you took a trip from the first class down to the first floor in the flight shop, correct?
Yes, I went to the shop to buy a suitcase. After which I went straight to the attendant's room to drop it off.
And did you see Miss Meele there at the time?
No.
So, Miss Meele, where were you really between the hours of 5 and 6 a.m.? Miss Cammy Meele!
Huh? The bathroom?
I'll be the one to ask the questions here.
Yeah, maybe that's it. I probably just missed her. Nature calls, you know.
Do you take me for a fool? That's a little too convenient to be true.
But it's the truth. Cross my heart.
I don't have enough conclusive proof to counter-argue her at this stage.
You don't believe me, do you? But please, won't you give me a chance and hear me out? Look, I know you're suspecting me because I'm one of the crew, but you think that maybe you should also suspect Miss Rhoda too. She's the one in charge of the elevator keycard in the shop, you know? If you ask me, that makes her super suspicious.
Please leave Miss Teniro out of the conversation. Only you are under suspicion for now.
I don't get it. Why are you covering for Miss Rhoda all of a sudden? Now I get it. Maybe you got your eye on Miss Rhoda.
Of course I'm keeping an eye on her. I can't very well let her escape, can I?
Never mind. But you want to know something? Miss Rhoda actually kind of
I have absolutely no interest in people who can't appreciate my sense of design. Now's not the time for this sort of talk. And what are you in charge of, Miss Meele?
I take care of the attendance room.
That doesn't count.
But I spend so much time in there, it might as well be my responsibility.
Mr. Edgeworth, Cammy is very talented in languages, so she assists passengers who may not speak English, especially those who speak Borginian. She's the only one on this flight who is fluent.
Oh, you mean that kind of what am I in charge of? Why didn't you say so in the first place?
What else could I have meant?
Yeah, so I'm really good at Borginian.
She's fluent in Borginian? Then I suppose you're in charge of processing documents in Borginian.
Yeah, I take care of anything that has to do with Borginian.
Very interesting. Makes also Yusu look super suspicious. Actually, your on-the-job behavior makes you super suspicious in my eyes.
Huh? But why?
While Miss Teniro is busy with the passengers and all of her other duties, you have a lot of free time on your hands, thus providing you with ample time to commit the crime.
Miles Edgeworth, I demand that you cease and desist in this line of conjectural questioning. I won't allow you to bluff your way through this like a certain defense lawyer who we will not speak of, but he has a blue suit and spiky hair and I do not like him. Oh, that's not true, Mr. Edgeworth, although, well...
Some Borginian stuff. So did you take care of this? The certificate. Okay. So you are the only one in this flight crew that speaks Borginian. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah, I guess so. I studied abroad in Borginia for a while.
If that's the case, then the signature on this document belongs to you, doesn't it? This is a falsified piece of documentation with only one purpose: to lead anyone who read it to believe that Mr. LeBlanc's statue was loaded in Europe. The only person who could have either prepared or processed this document in Borginian is you, Miss Meele. Without your participation, the smuggling of the Aleph Red could not have occurred. Don't sleep while I'm pointing my finger at you! Look at my goddamn finger!
Oh, I wouldn't dream of falling asleep on you, Mr. Edgeworth. It is exactly as you say.
Are you confessing to have participated in the smuggling ring?
No, far from it. It's true that I was the one who signed off on that document, but you can't use that fact alone to make your allegation of smuggling stick. There's no direct correlation after all. All you have is my signature on a piece of paper.
Really? All you did was sign it?
I neglected to check if the cargo had been holding onto the plate properly. So, sorry about that.
It seems that she's finally woken up. This is going to be one tough fight.
Suppose, and this is just a supposition, even if I was involved in the smuggling,
You can't throw the charge of murder on me just like that. If you were involved in the smuggling, you would have a strong motive to kill. Agent Hicks was in the middle of an investigation regarding a smuggling ring, and just when he was about to close in, he's killed by a member of that ring. Well, did you ever stop to think that maybe Rhoda is the smuggling ring member? After all, unlike me, Rhoda has access to many things on this plane for work purposes.
So perhaps there is some element of a setup at play in this case.
What are you talking about?
Don't worry, I wasn't talking about you. I meant the killer. First, it was myself, and now it's Miss Tenira who is under the microscope. Seems to me that our killer is going to great lengths to pin this crime on anyone they can.
You have no proof that Rhoda isn't being set up, or that she isn't.
Actually, I believe that she was indeed the intended target from the very beginning. I believe that the plan was to push all of the blame for the crime onto her. And this evidence will prove my suspicions. This proves that the killer was out to frame Miss Tenira from the very beginning. I don't have proof. God damn it.
Is it the iFly piggy bank?
The killer could have hidden the body anywhere, and yet they chose the suitcase. Why is that? Perhaps it was to move the body up from the lower deck to the first floor. However, why go through the trouble to do so? The only way all of these actions make sense is if the killer had wanted to frame Miss Tenira for the murder. Miss Tenira buys a suitcase on every flight she works without fail. But should her suitcase be switched with the one containing the victim's body, that would put her in a very tight spot. Unfortunately for the killer, the turbulence put an end to that plan. There wasn't enough time to put the body back into the suitcase. Ergo, they made do with whoever was at hand, adapted their plan, and tried to frame me as I lay unconscious on the floor from the turbulence. The killer then went to hide the suitcase in the in-flight shop, and brought the piggy bank back to the elevator in order to fabricate a false weapon. A lot of work for a fruitless endeavor, wouldn't you agree?
Sounds like the killer had a tough time too, huh? I mean, why did the killer need to frame someone that badly anyway?
That is because of the special circumstances surrounding this particular case. What special circumstances dictated the need for the killer to frame someone? The special circumstance is simply that the murder took place on a plane mid-flight. No matter which country, customs is quite strict in this day and age. So no matter what you do, the chances that the body will be found is very high. Therefore, there was no choice but to frame either Miss Tenira or myself. In other words, the only one who fits within the boundaries of the criminal's movements is not Miss Tenira or myself, but you, Miss Cammy Meele. Only you and you alone could be the killer.
Are you done already? I was about to fall asleep again. Anyway, let's be honest here. You don't have anything on me other than a whole lot of circumstantial evidence.
I could see the outline of how the murder occurred, but I have no definitive evidence. And isn't there a piece of evidence that's still unaccounted for? Something that I still can't quite fit into the big picture? We literally have not talked about this missing cell phone at all. I don't have any actual evidence.
I thought not.
But that's because it went missing, and still is.
Missing? What do you mean by that?
In the complex puzzle that is this case, there was one piece that I kept getting stuck on, and that is the victim's cell phone. Francisca, you were waiting at the airport for a phone call from Agent Hicks's cell phone. Or at least, that's what you told me.
That's right.
But Agent Hicks's cell phone could not be found at the crime scene.
You mean the killer took the phone with them?
Precisely. I suspect that if we were to find the phone, it would lead us to the killer.
Come on, get serious. If the victim fell to his death from that height, wouldn't his phone break as well?
We won't know that until we try a little experiment, will we? Francisca, I'd like to ask for your assistance. You know the victim's phone number, do you not?
Of course I do.
That's a cute cell phone. Agent Hicks's phone! It's ringing from somewhere, sir! I hear it, Detective. Now where's it coming from? Meele? Miss Meele, wake up!
Sorry, Mr. Edgeworth. I got sleepy all of a sudden because it sounds like a lullaby I used to love as a child.
I better find that cell phone fast. It sounds like the phone is up in the flight attendant's room. We better hurry to the flight attendant's room, sir. Really? The flight attendant's room? March 12th, 4:12 p.m. Flight attendant's room. The ringing's coming from somewhere in here, sir. Leave no stone unturned, Detective Gumshoe. We must find it. The ringing is coming from somewhere around here. But it's not here, sir. Why do I have such a bad feeling about where we're going to find the phone? The ringing's coming from in here, sir. What? No, it can't be. This has got to be the victim's cell phone. Just whose locker is this, sir? It's Miss Tenero's. What? Shit. Oh, no. That's not good, is it? March 12th, 4:28 p.m., lower deck, cargo hold.
So, Mr. Edgeworth, how did it go? Where'd you find the phone?
I found it in the flight attendant's room, in Miss Tenero's locker.
What? But...
Rhoda Tenero? I don't know anything about the phone.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me. Miss Von Karma, is it? I suggest you arrest Miss Rhoda Tenero right away.
Wait, I have a theory. This is related to the incident with the keycard. When the killer went to steal the keycard, they conveniently stashed the cell phone in Miss Tenero's locker at the same time.
This is related to the keycard, all right. In the same way that we have zero proof that the killer did just that.
Ugh.
The only voice that sings the truth is evidence. That is the one word we cannot ignore.
What should I do? Francisca's right. I can't offer baseless conjectures at this point. Alright then, why did the culprit take the cell phone from Agent Hicks? It must have something very incriminating on or in it.
What now, Miles Edgeworth?
It's not over yet. We have yet to figure out why the killer took the phone.
What?
Inside this phone lies the final piece of incriminating evidence that will point us to our killer. We need to examine this phone in more detail. Oh dear, okay. The LCD is broken. Without a screen, you can't even place a call with this. This must be the switch that opens the phone. When did they start putting keywords like these into cell phones?
Hey, this is one of those computer cell phones that they started selling very recently.
Computer cell phones?
Yeah, it's got a computer in it, and it's a cell phone. Neat, huh, Mr. Edgeworth?
All you need is a phone and the phone part, nothing more.
I'm guessing yours can't even send out email. Talk about inconvenient.
Do you have a problem with what I do and do not care for, Detective?
No, sir. As they say, simple is best.
I'm a boomer, Detective. You can't be doing me like this. Oh, it's a camera lens. Come to think of it, I wonder, how exactly was Agent Hicks planning to preserve the crime scene of a smuggling? Francisca, I need you to confirm something. This cell phone, can it take pictures?
Mr. Edgeworth, I can't believe you don't know about this kind of basic stuff, sir. This looks like a very similar model to my own. And mine can take photos just fine.
Do you think Agent Hicks could have taken some pictures with this? In particular, pictures as evidence for his smuggling case? If so, I say they're
there may be some very inconvenient photos in here for our killer smuggler. But the phone's all busted up, sir. Even a super prosecutor can't repair a broken phone. Ugh. I'll find a way, don't you worry about that. May I go back to sleep now? The LCD screens on the inside and outside are broken, that's for sure. But that's also reason enough to believe that the killer wasn't able to erase the data. What? What do you mean by that, Francisca? It looks like our killer isn't very familiar with electronics. This phone still rang when I called it, meaning that only the LCD screens are broken. It's possible that the photos are still there inside, waiting to be accessed. All we need to do is transfer the data to my phone. Francisca, your phone if you please. Very well. It's transferring. Alright, displaying it now. This is... Agent Hicks was most certainly trying to obtain some evidence for a smuggling case. Hey, the olive red's no one in this pig, sir! But this has no meaning as a piece of evidence in this murder case, right? Ouch, she's right. There's not much we can find out from this about Agent Hicks' killer, sir. Is this it? Is this the end? Is there really nothing in this photo that we can use? This is a good theme, dude. What is all that? What's all this? Hmm? Oh, they had cargo ship from Bulgaria to Zhengfa. So the reason they aren't here now is that they were dropped off in Zhengfa. Mr. LeBlanc, can you tell me the contents of the boxes? Unfortunately, there is no English written on them anywhere. One cluster of boxes is written in the Bulgarian. It says, it is cloth in English. Cloth? Could it be? Is this where the killer... Well, what? What is for that scary face? What for is that scary face? Miss Meele. Yes? It appears that Agent Hicks was no ordinary investigator. He left us with a piece of evidence, after all. A striking piece that will point out who his killer is. Ha! Maybe you shouldn't force your mistaken reading of a simple picture, Mr. Edgeworth. The Bulgarian cargo in this piece of evidence will point us straight to the killer. And what is that supposed to prove? The killer used this piece of cloth to wipe up the blood they had spilt. But there was one thing that bothered me this whole time. Where did it come from? And now I have finally found my answer in this very photo. The cargo that was unloaded in Zhengfa had cloth written on it. In Bulgarian, that is. And this is where the killer grabbed a piece from to clean up the blood with. That's right. The killer was someone who could read and understand Bulgarian. And the only crew member that fits that description is you, Miss Cammy Meele. Ha! That's pretty flimsy. The killer probably searched through all the boxes looking for something to use. When you're frantic, you don't care if the box is in English or Bulgarian. Sorry, but I cannot agree with your assessment of the killer's indiscriminate nature. What? There was no need for the killer to tear through boxes at random at all. And if the killer supposedly could not comprehend Bulgarian, well then. Logically, the killer would have opened this box first. Oh, bedsheets. Hey! It says bedsheets in English right on the box, sir! Precisely. And bedsheets would be perfect for cleaning up blood, wouldn't you say? So what are you trying to say? That if I were the criminal, this box of bedsheets would have been what I would have spotted first. However, the killer chose to use some Bulgarian cloth. Do you have an explanation for that? The killer didn't want anyone to know that the real scene of the crime was this cargo hold, so they were afraid to leave signs that the box for the sheets had been opened. However, the Bulgarian cloth, well, that's a horse of a different color. Because the killer knew that it was going to be unloaded in the Republic of Zhengfa? That's right. That is why the Bulgarian cloth was used, and the only Bulgarian reader on board who can make such a calculated decision is you, Cammy Meele! You and you alone! Ugh! It would be very easy for us to confirm if any of the boxes were resealed. All we would have to do is contact the Zhengfa authorities in time.
We may even find other evidence to incriminate our killer within those boxes. Ugh. So what do you say, Miss Meele? Why not confess to your crime here and now? Or would you rather wait and see what we find out from our investigation in Zhengfa?
He was Interpol. I couldn't stop it. I brought him here. He started taking pictures. I couldn't be found out. I was scared. I was in trouble.
March 12th, 5:26 p.m. First floor lounge. We finished making all the arrangements to take the suspect in, sir. Very good, detective. What about the smuggling route? Did she say anything about that? They're taking it down to the precinct now. Hopefully we can get more out of her there. Whenever we approached the topic, she just started foaming at the mouth. It was scary, sir. She probably wasn't prepared to commit a murder out of all of a sudden. One thing is for sure, the ring behind this whole mess means serious business. It looks like there's a lot more to this case than meets the eye.
Mr. Edgeworth, I just wanted to say how much I appreciate everything you did. Thank you so much.
It was nothing. In fact, I should be the one thanking you for your cooperation.
But truly, if it wasn't for you, I might not be here right now. Instead, I can continue to serve our passengers as a flight attendant. I hope that, well, please accept this as a token of my appreciation.
That's...
I see. You don't have to take it if you don't want it.
No, I mean, I would never turn down a lady's generous offer.
Oh, thank you. I'm sure it will serve you well. And remember, we here at iFly Airlines are always ready to serve, Mr. Edgeworth.
Thank you. I'll keep that in mind.
Now I must bid you farewell. May your skies be blue, no matter where you go.
We are never getting on this airline again. I can't believe we wound up investigating the whole day, sir, but boy, was it fun. Speak for yourself. My day was filled with earthquakes, elevators, and false charges. By the way, where's Francisca? Oh, she's filing out some customs paperwork for her departure. Departure? Yeah, Miss Von Karma's always really busy, sir. She's been flying from country to country to chase down some lays regarding her case. Detective, can you cancel the call I had you reserve earlier? You got it, sir. March 12th, 5:47 p.m., Hope Springs Airport. Francisca?
I thought I told you when you first landed. I have no time for idle chatter.
I have no intention of wasting your time, however, it has been a while since we last met.
I also have no time for such familiar reminiscences. Just who do you think I am?
You are Francisca von Karma, a very proud prosecutor deserving of much respect.
Only a little while ago, I was but a wretched mutt who was always losing to you. A dancing Pierrot, living her life on the name and fame of her invincible father built.
True, your father, Manfred von Karma, didn't lose a single case for 40 years as a prosecutor. However, I wouldn't say he was invincible.
What are you talking about? The group I'm on the trail of is a little more troublesome than most. The smuggling route we found this time is only one sliver of the big picture.
Sounds like a dangerous assignment.
You really don't have to worry. I can take care of myself.
Yes, I suppose you can.
Plus, there was another agent on this case with me.
Oh, another agent?
He's a star among Interpol agents, and has the highest successful arrest rate. Who knows, you may even run into him one day.
I was simply caught up in this one case. I hardly see why we could cross paths.
I suppose. But I doubt he would say the same.
I'm not following you.
You'll understand soon enough. The flight has only just begun. The fight has only just begun, Miles Edgeworth. Geez, we've been on a plane all day. And when I am, you can be sure I'll pay you back. In full.
And just like that, she's gone, huh, sir? Thank goodness! I can finally rest easy knowing I won't have to watch out for her whip.
Detective Gumshoe, I want to thank you for all your help and cooperation.
Oh, it was nothing, sir. I was just happy to be able to work with you again. I think I'm gonna celebrate by adding a little extra salt to my instant noodles tonight.
Just how much did you cut his salary by, Francisca? Detective, I was wondering if you might give me a ride down to the prosecutor's office?
Sure thing, sir. I'll even fly down the road in the patrol car if you want.
Don't make me remind you, Detective. Safety first. Thus, I saw the first case upon my arrival home. Francisca von Karma, the smuggling route she was after. The leaders of that ring had already put up their trump card into play. And the players on the other side of the war, they would begin to make themselves known through the next incident. Edgewood speaking. And you are? Mr. Amano. Ernest Amano, correct? But I can't ask this of anyone else. There's been an incident, Miles. My son, he's been kidnapped. Well then, I suppose that's our next case. A kidnapping. Let's see. The Kidnap Turnabout. Alright. I really like Turnabout Airlines. I feel like I don't hear a lot of people say too much about this case, but I honestly really like Turnabout Airlines. Also, Meele. I love Meele. She's cute. That's about it. But yeah. Well, that is it for this episode. Join me next time for the Kidnap Turnabout. Roll the end card.
Objection! You haven't hit like and subscribe yet! Hold it! You forgot to ring the bell to get notified whenever I upload! Take that! Click here to watch more of my videos! Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye!